and they label this data for us. So meaning we use AI to read a document, but wherever we get it, we think it's incorrect. We farm it out to crowds of people creating micro jobs, get the data labeled, and we get it pulled back in production. So we process north of 1,000 documents per 60 minutes.
Per 60 minutes doing this. And we create over 1 million micro jobs per week. That's just...
It's clear that globally, there's certain pockets in the world that receive more funding. Okay, we have the Meccas, the Silicon Valleys, the Tel Avivs. All these locations receive more funding.
Yeah.
And also the type of funding is VC funding. Right? Certain places in South Africa and Africa, we don't have that level of distribution. But there is a lot of activity now in the market where capital is moving into Africa. And they recognize the growth, the potential, and the amount of youth that's going to be driving the world is going to be similar.
Thanks for joining us after your talk earlier. It's very interesting. When I initially looked at who I wanted to sort of interview on this show was actually your headline grabbed me the most: practical applications of AI, and we'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, thanks for joining us.
Great. I'm happy to be here.
First off, I mean, what do you mean by that? Practical applications? Are we talking about under the hype or around the hype, or how we working with it? Because I've got my personal anecdotes I want to get into, but yeah.
Great. Practical applications of AI. So in order for me to explain this, I've got to give you a bit of history and a bit of our DNA. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Isazi.ai. And we were one of Africa's first AI companies. We were founded back in 2012. Well, what Isazi means is scientist. And we are a group of engineers and scientists. We've come together and we've solved very particular problems for customers. And this idea of practical applications on AI actually stems from us not receiving funding, being a bootstrapped company. And the reason why I say this is in a lot of environments where too much funding is thrown too early, companies start building their versions of solutions. But when you're a bootstrapped company and you're talking to your customer, you've got to guarantee that what the product you're building solves exactly the problem they have. And for me, that is the most practical application of AI for a business owner or government. So the words practical applications AI run deep with us. And it's a very, very focused approach of saying, let's build the Nissan 1400 Bakkie rather than building the extravagant vehicle with all the bells and whistles. Let's get the job done in the lightest, leanest, cost-effective way possible.
Is this the right market for you? I mean, you mentioned earlier when we were chatting before the interview, we might want to move to the States, but I mean, I like the fact that you're based in Joburg, and I like the fact that, you're solving problems here. Can you tell us a little more about your applications here in Joburg or in South Africa as a whole in terms of whether the market picked you up or not?
Absolutely. So right now, Isazi in total is 110 people, of which 50 are scientists and engineers. And our products are in Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and the US. Our market is not necessarily defined by its geography, but our market is defined by the individual who has a problem, who wants it solved, and wants it in his production environment in under 12 weeks. That's fair enough. And in every country, in every geography, the future is unevenly distributed. And we look for our people, our group who we engage with, and we work with them and partner and go on this long journey with them, this AI journey.
I guess I'm just always used to having like the kind of work you do. I'm always used to chatting to someone in the States or, not even in Europe, but normally in Asia or somewhere. So I guess I'm always just nice to have someone, someone local.
Yeah. So for a company that started, you said 2012,
Correct.
and you were bootstrapping,
Yes.
and now you have a staff of about over 100 people
Correct.
from bootstrapping,
Yes.
no funding,
No fun.
no investment.
No invest.
How did you do it?
So let me, I think, focusing on the problem.
Yeah.
You can keen that up.
Cool. Cool.
How do you bootstrap a company?
Yeah.
Our belief has always been, and I think it's the scientist in us, is let's approach every problem from first principles. Let's define it mathematically and go back and see and test what works and what doesn't. And if it works, or if we can prove that it works, it's almost guaranteed to work. So what we're doing is guaranteeing customers, saying, if it doesn't work, we'll give you all your money back, or only pay us when it's down. And what it's done is it's created a great group of individuals who have supported Isazi from the beginning. And those people introduced us to their friends, and their friends introduced us to their friends.
Good.
Your story.
Yeah.
I think it's so important with starting a company. Just get 5 people to love the service you get. And those 5 people who love it, will be your evangelist and represent your brand and take you to places that you could have never went on your own.
100%. You mentioned something in your presentation. I think you said problem versus technology, or technology versus problem, speaking to how one needs to match the two. A lot of times you find people applying the wrong technology to the wrong problem. For example, in Africa, South Africa in particular, the how to send information to maybe the most rural parts of this country, you may still have to use USSD because of the infrastructure and technology and such and such. I'm wondering, how were you able to scale an AI business in Africa to a team of 100? What problems were you solving for customers? What kind of problems?
Great. Great question. So firstly, what I previously you okay. So firstly, let's start. One of my favorite quotes by Einstein is, if I had 60 minutes to solve a problem, I'd spend the first 59 understanding it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot stress how important it is for every individual, whether you on the company side or the startup scale-up side, to understand your problem. Then apply and take a very agnostic approach to technology. Our view as scientists is we cannot be one. We cannot adopt a tool and say we are a Microsoft or we are a technology partner of a certain type. You see, because it taints us. We're not a scientist. Because every problem we then seek to solve, we would be forced to solve with the only tool that we partnered with. So it's important to retain, it was important to us to retain our identity as scientists and say every problem we see, instead of just trying to throw technology at us, let's try and take a wide view and look at the landscape of tools available.
Right.
And then take those tools and solve that type of problem. The second point around how could we scale in a country like Africa? My 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 another way of phrasing that is, how could we have not skinny in a country like that?
Right.
For me personally, I mean, this is a place of opportunity. So when other people see different parts of it, we used to say when we first founded the business, our favorite show was Carte Blanche, because it gave us the summary of all the problems that was in our country, and we could build solutions to solve for them. They summarized it for us on a weekly basis. And it's this type of thinking, I think, is the South African entrepreneur type of thinking that's very special and has made has made it dense globally.
Right.
The second thing is South Africa has some of the most advanced banking.
It does. It does.
Have some of the most advanced supply chains globally. So when we look at implementing solutions, when we talking to our clients like the Unilevers of the world, F&B and others, uh, these customers are extremely advanced and know exactly what they want. And they really take time and patience in working with a local provider. And we've had great relationships with these companies and brands. And it's allowed us to scale, not just in South Africa, but go and take the business blow.
Interesting. Interesting.
We actually made this point in our interview earlier, in the sense that why isn't, in terms of these kind of building here, for me, the market in Africa is untapped. It's almost like your access to market, your size of market, the opportunities here in this market, from my perspective, are almost untapped. And it's particularly in this kind of context. Do you feel that is the case still for yourself and your business growth, or not so much? Is there too much red tape? Is it political risks, whatever the case may be, and whatever problem you're trying to solve and what region you're trying to solve it? Is that true? I mean, am I completely wrong with this idea? You made a quote, actually. Now that I think of it, you made a quote. You said the practical application of a technology is more important than the latest technology.
Yeah.
And that was like was that the one you were referring to?
Yes.
And that, for me, that makes complete sense. And you don't necessarily have to be on the cutting edge of things, but the opportunity here for just solving problems and that access to market, for me, we should have unicorns all over the place, or we don't. Yeah.
Sure.
Carlos, where are you playing this? Or what's the...
It's
YouTube, Spotify, Apple
it's our
Podcasts.
sister called the Angle podcast, but we publish widely. Yeah.
All right, Henry.
Oh, is this a controversial question, or?
If he has to think, where are you publishing this?
You can snip it up harder. Cool. My thoughts, right? It's clear that globally there's certain pockets in the world that receive more funding. Okay, we have the Meccas, the Silicon Valleys, the Tel Avivs. All these locations receive more funding. Yeah. And also the type of funding is VC funding. Right. Certain places in South Africa and Africa, we don't have that level of distribution. But there is a lot of activity now in the market where capital is moving into Africa. And they recognize the growth, the potential, and the amount of youth that's going to be driving the world is going to be similar. The types of the things we focus on as a company is we have limited resources, and we got to hand select the types of customers we can work. And those customers stretch across different geographies. Our goal is to scale into a global company because we are 100% convinced and can guarantee that every product we create is indistinguishable from a product created in one of these tech makers. So we believe we can compete equally. And I believe that, or at least we as Isazi, we want to compete on a global scale. I've been given the responsibility to lead an extremely smart group of scientists and engineers. And it wouldn't be right for myself not to take them to the elements.
Right. Is Isazi a services-based company or products?
Okay. So Isazi right now,
Yeah.
30% of our revenue actually comes from consulting, which is just solving people's tough problems.
Right.
Our slogan previously was, if you've tried to solve a problem with a large consulting firm and you didn't, maybe you should try a mathematician, and people would come.
Cool.
70% of our business, though, is built up on licenses. So, products that we created, that we license to our customers, that they utilize in their business.
What are some of those products?
We have two products.
Yep.
One is called Hudson.
Hudson.
It's called Sophia. Like Hudson, like the river.
Oh,
And the name actually came about is, I'm quite sure you're familiar with people who talk about data lakes.
yeah.
We used to make this joke. What does everybody building a data lake have in common? They still building a data. The reason why we say this is we previously saw companies actually hold off on applying AI
Yeah.
because they wanted to get their data centralized and in a perfect state.
Mm.
And all a data lake represent is stagnant water.
Right.
So we said a different approach would be a Hudson, and the name stunk because it was named after Hudson the river. And we treated it as data should flow through an organization. They deliver nutrients and minerals to different parts of the organization.
Okay.
And what Hudson does is it's an engine that focuses on three things: cleaning and preparing data,
Mm.
running prediction algorithms over it, and thirdly, optimization, optimizing stuff.
Right.
So we say it's pointless predicting something if you can't do anything about it.
Right.
So a great example that we have, a great customer of ours, is Unity. You
Mm.
forecast over 2,000 products, how much they're going to sell, where they're going to sell it, when they're going to sell it. And we run optimization algorithms over this to tell them how to optimally distribute their capital. Secondly, Sophia, a product that focuses on end-to-end automation.
I see.
This is a product that if you think any company that has a mailbox
Mm-hmm.
and you're receiving large numbers of documents, maybe invoices,
Mm.
we use the term or phrase called AI is capable, but not reliable.
Oh,
What do we mean by it? Is if we all had dinner
right.
and they brought us the bill, and I took out my phone and I used ChatGPT. Okay, let me repeat this. If we all had dinner
Yeah.
and we asked for the bill, and I took out my phone and used one of the large language models to take a picture of this boy,
Right.
and I asked it to extract this data for me and put it in a machine-readable format,
Mm.
it'll extract it perfectly. However, if I used the API and uploaded 10,000 invoices per day,
Hey.
you would see that around 3% would be incorrect. And it's incorrect because of this term called hallucination
Yeah.
that exists in these image language models.
Right.
And when you're processing financial or medical data, you can't process things with a 4% error.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So what we've done there is actually we've used multiple large language models to read these documents. And wherever we have a low probability or low confidence score,
Mm.
we cut that piece of paper out or image out. And we created a game that we farmed this field out to unemployed youth in South Africa. We have hundreds of unemployed youth playing a game continuously, and they label this data for us. So meaning we use AI to read the document, but wherever we get it, we think it's incorrect.
Mm.
We farm it out to crowds of people creating micro jobs, get the data labeled, and we get it pulled back in production. So we process north of 1,000 documents per 60 minutes
Per 60 minutes.
doing this. And we create over 1 million micro jobs per week.
That's just interesting. Do you own any data centers? Where does your data sit?
No. Or we never, we made a decision never to own customer data
Okay.
and never to store customer data.
Okay.
So we do not own any data centers. We offer our clients two solutions. One is a cloud across the 4 big cloud providers. We are agnostic to the cloud and across all the regions that they're available globally, which covers all of them. And secondly, we also offer the customer to put it on their infrastructure. We'll see. So customers who want to own and protect their data, we have that option available too.
There's a lot of fear around AI. Generally, people feel it's taking jobs, it's going to end the world. What would you say to people who fear using AI tools or services that are integrated with AI tools?
what would I say to people not wanting to use AI? Please start reading it.
Yeah. Get on with it. Yeah.
This is
Is the fear real? I mean, that's what's on people's mind. Are you saying the fear is not real?
I think that that debate is over.
Yeah.
They will soon. It's just a matter of time, and it's just not going to be an option
Anymore.
anymore.
Here's an example of my fear of AI. I want it to know everything about me. Like I want to be able to be a space because I work in publishing. I want to, you want to develop in a space where my workflow, because I'm taking numerous voice notes, I'm writing notes, I'm researching all the time. I want to know everything about what I'm doing, as well understanding who I am and how I want to present what I'm working on, as in a publishing format. So my fear is non-existent. Maybe I should actually roll back a little bit in terms of my data and how that works. But my sense of how I want to use an AI, I want a very personal AI. I want a very personal assistant in the sense that it understands everything I'm working on, can uh, see my browser history, whatever the case may be, and understand like what I'm trying to do and help me along in that path. Like there's a really smart technical workflow I could tap into to make that work for myself. I suppose you can call it agentic, but certainly there's no tool as such yet that can really, I got to use numerous tools if I want to go anywhere. Do you feel like that's a bad example in terms of the broader question I'm going to ask you, but in the sense of what I would like to use it for, do you feel that those kind of innovations, do you feel Africa, put it this way, do you feel Africa and the companies that are working on the problems they're thinking about in this space, how they actually, do you think they're going to have a really, I think they're going to have a larger influence on the global scale in the next few years than not. A lot of people, I think there's still a general perception that Africa is still kind of pushed to the side. But besides, if we protect ourselves, not just become consumers of the larger corporations, I think Africa, as the innovation happening here, could have almost an accelerated influence in terms of these tools moving forward. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Do you agree with that view or not so much?
There goes your nose.
I think Africa is already the users of technology outside of Africa. Cool. I think the borders, technology has broken the borders. This morning I had a meeting with somebody in a different country. We exchanged information, we exchanged data, we solved the problem with somebody completely in a different country. You get paid from different places for many years. I don't think the Africa will need to solve its problems. Its problems are far greater than the technology was. And what Africa needs to do is focus on solving the problem regardless
Of the technology.
the tools that we use to solve it.
Mm.
Because we've got some problems that we're going to have to solve for ourselves in this continent. And we're going to have to utilize all our resources that are available to us to get it solved.
Yeah. Interesting. When you came up with this term, practical applications of AI, did you see the opposite of it happening in Africa?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think right now, if you just look at AI, I mean, there's studies, there's a few papers that I've read. One paper quotes 84% of AI doesn't see a return on investment. Another paper quotes 92% doesn't see a return on investment. But what's happening here is these companies are not prioritizing what they need to solve.
Okay.
And the worst mistake I see companies are making is their version of applications of AI is make a chatbot.
Oh, yeah.
And what
Everyone is making.
the team to come put a wrapper around one of the lecture and say this is a chatbot and we're using AI, so we don't really have to be concerned about. Now, if your priority is a chatbot and you're a large organization, you've missed your opportunity
Right.
of what you should be about.
Oh, right.
What you need to be thinking about AI is how do I multiply my revenue with it? Or how do I significantly reduce my cost for my business?
Right.
To a point that makes at least a minimum of 25 to 30% on their part. So if a CEO is looking at AI, his AI strategy should at least influence that at a minimum mode. Otherwise, the approach is incorrect.
Is this a function of time, though? Because I don't think this weird application of AI tools to problems is only business sided. A lot of people are replacing their thinking capacity, or rather outsourcing the thinking to AI tools. Instead of using AI to vet my work, I actually get the AI to do my work. A lot of people go on this AI tools to say, create me an essay, answer this for me. So we're not thinking, we're using the AI to think. A lot of people go, okay, you need an AI solution. Here's a chatbot. Is it a function of time to say there will be a period where users and creators think differently around AI, both from consumption and from production? Or is that time just now? We should just start now and just think about this practically as possibly we can.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
And the way I would answer it is there's two types of people. And there's always going to be these two types of people, I believe, are going to be existed before AIs,
Yeah.
and they will exist after AI. Let me I studied at university.
Right.
I remember when our lecturer would post all the textbooks that we needed to go to a library and get so we could study for our exam.
Yeah.
You'd go to the library and you'd check where all these books were, the location. And at the back, it would say QA 171. You'd have to go down to the particular floor,
Right.
basement or wherever, find aisle Q, row A, and look for this book.
Right.
And there were 10 books recommended. But of the 10, 6 were out and 4 were only there. Oof. So you took all 4 and you weren't allowed to take it home. So you took it to your table in the library and we'd open it up and you'd read through it and you didn't have enough time.
Right.
So you'd write down what's important. Write down what's important or make a photocopy of the page you needed. Take it and you'd leave to go and study from this and you'd leave the book there for somebody else to do it. And while you were unpacking these books from different shelves and looking for it, and when you took all these 4 books and you looked at the time and you realized I'm going to have to leave soon, you had to ask yourself an important question. What is it do I want to know from this book?
100%.
Because I just couldn't be here to read all these books.
Yeah.
So you had to pause and ask yourself a question. What is it that I want to know from this book? And that spark of curiosity, that existence, that ability of an individual to be so curious, to go down and actually research for this information. I call that person 1. And person 2 is the person who's not curious and
Right.
doesn't want to pursue or has this pursuit of education or knowledge. And what AI has done for us, and in particular large language models, is just think about every library in the whole world. It's ingested over the internet.
Right. The palm of your hand.
And yes, you could ask it to write you an essay. And what it would do would pick all the books that are important, take all the content, and write it exactly the way you want it. Even in the tone, the choice of language, how long you wanted it. It'll write it the way you want it. But if you didn't know or could not refine your question of what you asked, you would probably miss out on that knowledge gap that you were trying to gain. And if it's used incorrectly, the delta would just get bigger. But I truly believe that there's a group of people who have this pursuit of knowledge and understanding. And those are the individuals who lead the world. They don't just lead Africa or the US, so they lead the world.
Yeah.
And my advice to anybody is, yes, use AI, but just have that curious mind. because it's never been this easy to get information.
Yeah.
What you could learn now in Empower, you can learn so much more.
Yeah.
Because everything is available at your fingertips.
It's the way it goes. I mean, no matter what technology you have available to yourself, I mean, people are still people. You look, if history is any guide, we know that, even if AI, take a dystopian view of it, at the end of the day, I still have to live my life. I still wonder, who I am, what I'm interested in. I still want to fall in love, and I still want to do have these life experiences that technology has nothing to do with. And it's in the sense that yours doesn't have the people that are going to use what they've got available to themselves to be better. Like self-improvement is not going to now go away because we have the means to not do the work.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Do you still have what's up?
One last question. When you're strategizing about your business and you're looking at, say, the next 5 years or so, what problems you mentioned you did want to access larger markets, but I mean, what problems do you see maybe that your clients are going to want you to solve for them? How are you thinking about that?
With a market that's changing so fast, I'm going to tear a page from Jeff Bezos. He says, in a market that's changing, just focus on what's not going to change.
Right.
What I know for sure is our customers always want what we're offering them faster and cheaper. Our main goal is our goal over the next 5 years is right now to be able to take our customer's problem and solve it within a week and get it into the production environment. Let me rephrase that. Sorry. Right now, currently, we can take a customer's problem, solve it. Right now we can take a customer's problem, find it mathematically,
Right.
solve it, and get it into the production environment in under 12 weeks. Our BHAG as a company is to be able to do it in 1 day.
1 day.
We're very focused and believe over the next year we'll get it down to 4 weeks. And soon we'll be able to get it down to a day.
You're big on mathematics. Wait, in your presentation now, one of the first slides was a math equation. And now you're saying you look at a client's problem, you almost translate it into a mathematical problem, then you derive a solution. Why is the mathematical thinking so important in your problem solving?
The mathematical thinking, I've been very blessed to have two amazing friends who became my co-founders of Isazi.
Yeah.
The one is a guy called Dario Faluki, who was a lecturer in computer science, applied maths, and Dr. Ubaki Mwepia, who's a lecturer in applied mathematics, or is I'm a physicist by qualification.
Okay.
So the way we approached engaging with people is we don't know the industry.
Right.
We'll never know as much as the other guys about banking or supply chain or logistics. But what we really know is mathematics. So if we meet somebody who's willing to lend us their knowledge and experience about the industry, we will give them all the mathematics they need to power and optimize their business.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
Okay.
Ashley, Anthony, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Yeah.